If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. That really, really does a lot for us. Also, make sure you tick that notification bell to follow up on everything that we're doing. And if you're listening on any of the audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever you like, click the subscribe button. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you leave a comment and rate us. We really love when y'all interact with us, and it helps us out a lot. Appreciate y'all.
And we showing everybody how to grow their confidence. One for all and gold like Donovan Gold. So we go
beyond the game, beyond the same. Changing the culture and the land. To the court, to the field, to the skates. Get the real from the gate.
Ooh, that was crisp. That was crisp. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Beyond the Game podcast. This is the Leadership Academy, and I am amped because this is a long one coming.
It has been.
This has been a long time in the making. I'm here with my bro, Malcolm Williams. Bro, how you doing, my guy?
I'm blessed, bro. Thank you for having me, man. I'm excited, bro.
I'm so excited for this, man. It's been so long, but I'm so glad that we can finally make this happen. Before we get started, I want to jump right into it. PVE.
Yes, sir.
You and your sister Haeley started PVE, Purpose, Value, Education.
Yes, sir.
And you guys are making waves already. Let's just jump right into that because the people gotta know what is going on.
Yes. So this has been a long time coming for us. Mm-hmm. We've been thinking about working together for years. And the timing has just been right now. So Purpose and Value Education, we offer in-school wellness workshops. Okay. So think motivational speaking meets physical literacy. So we go into schools, we have a message, we talk about mentorship, leadership, using your community resources, and how we do it, we tie that into games. So whether it be relay races, obstacle courses, stuff to get the kids moving, right? We didn't want to just go into schools and just speak for an hour. We wanted to kind of do it in a way where, okay, how can this be the most engaging for the kids, right? How can they get the most takeaway? And, myself coming from a fitness background, knowing how important it is to move your body, we're like, okay, how do we incorporate this into what we're doing? And so yeah, we got into our first school, yes. W.F. Davidson Elementary in Surrey, BC. And a couple weeks ago, we just came back from touring up in Williams Lake. So we hit the middle school up there, the high school up there, and we also hit Indian Reservation.
Okay.
And that was just amazing. They welcomed us in with opening arms. Started with the drum circle ceremony to get us started. That's and beautiful. And yeah, man, we had a blast with the kids.
I love that. I absolutely love that. To take your skill set, take Haeley's skill set, and to go into communities that are underserved, and to really touch these kids in a way that they might not necessarily have the opportunity to do so before, right? I think that is beautiful, and that speaks to y'all's heart, right? For the kids and for education and for physical literacy. And I think that all in all, that's just wonderful. I know there's a future where Beyond the Game and PVE steps in together, 100%. And we're amped to make that happen.
Yes,
but we're gonna let y'all do what you do because I'm so excited and so happy to see the impact that you guys are making already. Right, that's awesome. So we're good to go there, and it's cool because you're stepping into these places and you are leading, right, by example. You're leading, and not just leading yourselves, but you're also leading these kids, and they're picking up on things now. Through that, I want to talk about leadership, which is obviously the whole point of this entire podcast, right? Is leadership. So, in how do you view leadership? Let's start in the micro with PVE. How do you view leadership going there to different schools, and then let's expand it further.
Yeah. So for me personally, my leadership style has always been lead by example. I grew up with a speech impediment. I grew up with a stutter. So using my voice was something that I always shied away from. And I didn't really have too much confidence in. And so I just led by example. I let my actions speak for me. And so it's kind of cool now how I come full circle, and now I'm really using my voice, right? And so my sister, you know, she's been speaking, you know, with her business, the MPE experience. And so for me, you know, I'm stepping into my own right now, getting comfortable up here speaking, using my voice, using my platform. And so, leadership is huge for us. We don't want to just go into these schools and just talk the talk. You know, we also have to walk the walk.
Yeah, facts.
And, you know, so during my CFL career, I'd come back in the off seasons, and I would work for Washington Kids Foundation. And so through the foundation, running, you know, physical literacy programs, and you know, I got to be Coach Malcolm. And so, you know, using my voice, commanding the room, running these groups has helped me prepare myself, you know, to go into schools and speak to, you know, larger groups of kids. And it's been fulfilling. It's been challenging, but super rewarding. And I'm definitely grateful for, you know, the situation that I find myself in.
Man, that's awesome. You've touched on some things that I want to dive into. Talk about the CFL. Talk about Washington Kids Foundation. There's a lot to unpack there, so we're gonna get into it. But before we do that, let's talk about kind of your upbringing a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about your background playing sports. Let's talk about let's start there. Yeah. What sports did you play growing up?
So growing up, I'll start. So I grew up in Maple Ridge, BC. I'm super blessed to grow up in a 2-parent household. I'm a middle child, so Malcolm in the middle, legit. Older brother, younger sister. Yep. And sports has been huge for me. So organized soccer at 5, and that just kind of led into basketball, football, and lacrosse. So lacrosse. Okay. I played a year of t-ball, but you know that's just in the past, you know. Right. So there was a point there in time where one sport would start, and the next one would start, and boom, it was all year round. And so I'm definitely grateful for you know, my upbringing in sports, you know, all the life lessons that you can think of, dedication, leadership, discipline, overcoming adversity, just to name a few, that I got to grow up in an environment like that. And so as I got older, through high school, lacrosse was the first one that I had stopped, and then soccer came second. So then it was just football and basketball throughout my high school years. And then when I graduated high school from Pitt Meadows Secondary, I had a decision to make, and I chose basketball. I chose basketball, went to the University of British Columbia here in beautiful Vancouver, might I say.
Got thrown in there a little bit.
And played a year of basketball there. Dope. Under Kevin Hansen. Had a great year. There was a lot of learning that went on that year. I ended up having to leave that school because of academics, which was a great learning life lesson that I needed to go through.
It's tough in the moment.
Yep. Been there. But it was one of those things where I grew from. I went and played junior football in Langley here.
Langley Rams, shout out.
Langley Rams, CJFL. 3 years there, and while I was playing my 3 years, I was going back to school. I was upgrading. Going through that process because I knew eventually I would like to get back to playing university sports. And so after 3 years here in Langley, I had an opportunity to go to the University of Manitoba to play football.
No, before you keep going, this is a crazy story. I remember I think I was going to London Drugs or whatever, or Shoppers Drug Mart or something, to go pick up whatever it was. I'm listening to this podcast. I don't know if you sent it to me or someone posted somewhere, and I listened to it, and I heard him tell the story, and it blew my mind. So, Malcolm, please just continue the story about you at the University of Manitoba.
Yes. So I show up to the University of Manitoba. Okay. I'm an older guy. I'm 22. Okay. So, they were looking for a leader to come in, someone to come in and start right away, help the team. And so, that was me. Came into camp, had a great camp. And so right before our first preseason game, Coach Dobie brings me to the office, and he hits me with, so by the way, you're actually ineligible this year. And I'm like, shoot. Okay. So right then and there, I had a decision to make.
Yep.
Okay, so I still had 1 year eligibility left with Langley Rams. Okay, so I could go back home and play junior football for 1 more year and play, or I could stay at the University of Manitoba. I could redshirt. Okay, the training facilities and all that are state of the art at University of Manitoba. And so it was, stay and train, upgrade, and practice against the starting defense, or go back home and play junior football. And so I decided what was best for my development at that time was to stay at University of Manitoba, okay, knuckle down, get my grades right, and then while also training and playing against what I thought was a higher level of competition, going against the starting defense here. Yeah. And so that's just the decision I made. Now, one of the biggest blessings at the time, one of my teammates at University of Manitoba, David Onyemata. Okay, shout out Dave. He went in the 4th round of the NFL draft that year,
which is nuts. For those of you who don't understand that, that's as to play in a Canadian school and go into the 4th round of the NFL draft from a Canadian school. That does not happen. That does not happen. Now, one of my former coaches, Anthony Cannon, always says, if you play well, if you are good enough, they will find you. So take that as a lesson. If you're good enough, they will find you.
Right.
So continue, please.
And so yeah, because of David and his immense talent, we had NFL and CFL scouts at pretty much all of our practices.
That's crazy.
All year. And this was something that I wasn't too aware of at the time, actually. And so I remember it was December 18th. I get a call.
You got the date and everything.
The date down. I had a missed call. I woke up, had a missed call, checked the voicemail. Hello, this is Jim Barker, GM of the Argos. Could you please call me back? And I'm just like, still trying to wake up. I'm making sure my ears are right. I'm like, okay. So called Jim back. He's like, hey, one of our scouts was able to see you at practice at University of Manitoba, and we like your stuff. We want to offer you a contract. And I'm just like, wait, what? Right? Mind you, I went to bed, right, thinking, all right, I gotta grind. I gotta be eligible for next season. To getting a call with a opportunity to live out my dream. Yeah. Right. Growing up, I always wanted to be a professional athlete. Not quite sure which sport, but I knew I was gonna be a pro athlete. And then to have this opportunity, which came out of nowhere, that I felt was just amazing.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. I hope you guys caught that. So Malcolm played 3 years of junior ball.
Langley,
3 years of junior ball, Langley Rams. Now, don't get me wrong. Malcolm no scrub. Malcolm did his thing. Then he went to the University of Manitoba. Was told he was academically ineligible. Had to get his grades up. But he had options. He had to come back to Langley or stay in Manitoba and play there against the defense there in practice. We're talking about practice. Insert Allen Iverson. So this dude, he practices and is offered a professional contract from practice. That is nuts to me. I remember hearing that and calling you. I'm like, what is this? Who are you? Like, that's incredible, man. That is such a cool story to me. Like, being just from exposure and just being literally in the right place at the right time, but not just that, but also taking care of your business. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Having trained well enough, having to be in this position where you are, where you're like, okay, I can play with the ones. I'm supposed to be out here. I'm not, but that's okay. Scouts still want me. And then you got to live out your pro career.
Yes. It was amazing. When I found out that I was academically ineligible for that year, that was tough. That was super tough for me to hear, especially because, over those 3 years, I was upgrading, right? So when I showed up, I thought I was good. Now, there was a little bit of miscommunication. I thought I needed, a certain amount of credits to be eligible, but it ended up being I needed a certain amount of credits within a year span, like from January 1 to January 1, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And so that's where the hiccup was.
Yeah.
And so, but, me getting that news ended up being a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Because when you play junior football and you don't play college football, when you age out, okay, so I played junior football in BC. So the Lions has the rights to everyone in the BC league here up until a certain date. So if they don't sign you up until a certain date, then you become free agent for the rest of the league.
Yeah.
Now, if you play one down of university sports, U Sports here, then you have to go through the draft process. And if you don't get drafted, then you can get signed as a free agent.
Yeah.
So because I kept my junior status when I was redshirting, I was eligible to just sign and go.
Okay.
So if I would have had to play one down, then I would have had to go through the draft process, combine, and all of that.
Wow.
And so, that was a big lesson for me that, everything happens for a reason.
Facts.
And control what you can control.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so for me, it was like, I'm not playing this year. So these practice reps are my game reps.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so I treated it as such.
Go all out.
All in, all out. And that's what led me to my opportunity.
That's awesome. That is such a cool story. That is such a cool story. If that's not a story in resilience, in overcoming obstacles, in perseverance, and in just keeping your head down and working, I don't know what is, because that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. In the league. Now you're in the league. You're in Toronto. What were the leadership styles that you experience from other vets? Because you came, what year did you come into the league?
So I came into the league 2016 was my first year. 2016.
Yeah. So you came in with Declan and Levi and all of that.
Yeah. DJ.
That was a big draft year.
That
was a big draft. Toronto really said, all right, we're taking all the GTA guys. All y'all come here. Man, that was a good year. That was a very good year. So you came in with all them boys. What were the leadership styles that you kind of experienced on the team? Was Bear Woods on the team at that time?
Bear Woods was on the team at that time.
Yeah.
He was an amazing teammate and an amazing leader. He was a guy that not only led by example with his actions, but he also used his voice a lot. Whether that was, getting the team pumped up, motivation after a tough loss or tough practice. And he was a veteran at that time, and so just his experience alone was huge. And then you had a guy like Ricky Ray. Hall of Fame quarterback. He's another guy that led by example, right? One of the first guys in there, last guys to leave, right? Study, and he was a little bit more quiet, right? He wasn't as much of a raw guy, get everyone pumped up. But the awesome thing about Ricky is that when he did speak, everyone had respect for him right away. And the room went quiet, and he was a little softer spoken guy, right? So it came out a little softer, but his message always rang true. And so, just experience, how different guys move and lead, as a young guy coming in, just trying to soak up as much knowledge as possible. It was very cool and awesome to see the different type of leadership styles on the team.
That's awesome to hear. I know when I spoke to Declan, he said the exact same thing. Coach Tressman was your coach at the time, right?
Yes, Coach Tressman.
Coach Tressman. I've heard stories of Coach Tressman. Everything. From the outside perspective, from the outside looking in, from fans' perspective, he is a cerebral coach.
Yes.
He is a strategist. He's X's and O's. He knows the game of football.
Knows the game of football.
How is he as a communicator and as a leader?
He was awesome. And so after my experience playing under Coach Tressman, it became very clear to me why he was such a winner and why he was so successful. Very, very extremely detail oriented. Like I'm talking down to the steps, where we need to line up, where our eyes should be, right? And so I learned that attention to detail was extreme with him. And then he was a great motivator as well. He would pull clips, he would get other coaches to speak. He'd always have something for us at the start of meeting that was unique and cool, whether it be like a poem, whether it be a quote from a war veteran. He would bring those different elements, from that was totally outside of football, but totally applied to where we're at as a team and where we wanted to go. And so definitely the attention to detail, like right down to the T, every step, every inch, every calculation matters.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest takeaway from Coach Tressman, and we ended up winning.
Yeah,
with him.
Exactly. Yeah, that 2017, right?
2017,
y'all won that. Whoo, beautiful game, man. Beautiful game. Okay, so at this point, you've played 3 years in junior football. You've played. You've been on practice team at University. I was not gonna say practice team because you want to get the starters. So you're playing at University of Manitoba. Obviously, you have played years and have learned from people. You have developed your own leadership style, and you have implemented your own leadership style to that point. When you got to the league, how did you feel stepping into a leadership role, or were you the type of person to kind of take a step back, let the vets lead until you found your space to step in?
Yeah, so that is what I did. I kind of took a step back and allowed the veterans and kind of the older guys to kind of take that lead, but also, I mean, it's gonna sound kind of funny coming from a former professional athlete, but at the time I wasn't the most confident in myself, right? There was a lot of growing up watching football, like I seen a lot of these guys on TV, and then I almost kind of put them on a pedestal, and then so I kind of moved around like that a little bit, a little timid, a little shy, but looking back on it now, those were developmental years for me, right? Because now I'm very confident and assertive, and just more behind my voice and my actions. And so I kind of took a step back, let the older guys lead, and I just kind of took wherever I could from them.
I think honestly, you say it sounds weird, but I think that's very real. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel so many people are afraid to let people know that they're not sure of themselves, or they're not fully confident in their abilities, and then they go out there and they're afraid to make mistakes. They're afraid to try something. They're afraid to do that kind of stuff. So you're hearing that a pro athlete who theoretically is some of the best in the country is not sure of themselves. That's very real, because that's everybody, right? And I think that is assuring of people. Go out there and try, learn, grow, develop, because without going through those kind of trials and tribulations, you stepping into something like PVE now, it's not going to go the same.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? You're going to be a little more timid to step into entrepreneurship. You're going to a little bit more timid to knowing that you have a speech impediment, try and go out to speak to all these kids. You know what I'm saying? So I think understanding that of yourself is huge, because it gives people confidence.
Yes.
Right. So I think it's important to own that. Right. Now, as you continue to play in the league, your years go on. How many years did you play?
So I was in the league for 5 years.
Yeah.
But that fifth year was a COVID year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I played from 16 to 19.
Okay, okay. Also, let it be known he has 2 Grey Cup rings. Two of them things.
I was blessed 2019 with Winnipeg. Yeah,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So he did his thing. As your years progressed, as you gained confidence and stepped into a veteran role, did your leadership style kind of grow with you?
Yes, yes, it definitely did grow with me as I got more comfortable in the game, as I got more confident, as I kind of learned the ropes, as they say. I was definitely looking forward to making a new rookie's transition a little bit easier than I did. And so anyone who was willing and wanted, I poured into them as much as I could. Just showing them the ropes. This is what meetings are like. This is what training camp's like. This is how we travel, all that kind of stuff. And this is the playbook. And so it was awesome to kind of grow into that, to be able to give that help back, that I was so grateful enough to get as a young rookie coming into the league. And so it definitely some people are born leaders, right? I feel like I was as well, but it was something that I had to develop and strengthen, just like a muscle, right? And and that's what I did.
That's awesome. I really think that's cool, because I know too many people that won't grow it and won't develop it. They're like, no, I'm comfortable where I am. I'm good enough, and they keep going. But the best athletes, the best human beings, I'm not gonna say the best human beings because we're all good people, but the people who grow the most, the people who embrace the change and they adapt with it, and they're flexible and they flow. It's like water. Like, you're not gonna get stopped by something. You're gonna flow around it. You're gonna go through it eventually. So I think that's huge. So it comes time for you to call it a career. You went out happy.
I did.
You went out on your own terms.
I did.
You got married.
I did.
And you and your beautiful wife now have 2 beautiful girls. We are standing in front of the beautiful collection of them all. It's awesome. How is that transition from an athlete to a husband, now father? How's that been for you?
It's been good for me. Having veterans around me, they always said, have a plan once football's done. You never know when your time's gonna come up, right? And so as I was progressing through the league, I kind of always had in the back of my mind, all right, what's next, right? And I thought it was gonna be firefighting. Did the schooling, found out that it wasn't for me. But what was cool was that throughout my time in the league, I would come back and I would work for the foundation here in the off seasons. And so, so transitioning into family. So what 2020 and that COVID year did for me. So that was the first year I was home for an entire calendar year in a handful of years, right? I've been with my wife since we were 16 in high school. And so over the course of me going to Manitoba and then my years in the CFL, we're doing the long distance thing. And so COVID hits, they cancel the season on us. I'm home for a whole year. We're finally living the lifestyle that we've always dreamed. We have our own apartment. And October 1st, 2020, my beautiful daughter Valencia was born. And I was enjoying life. I was enjoying life. I was signed under contract with Ottawa for the 2021 season. And so as training camp was approaching, I had this feeling inside of kind of unease about leaving. And so it's one of those things where, you got to trust your gut. You got to trust your intuition, never let you down. And so it was telling me that it was time. And so I was definitely grateful enough to be able to leave the game on my own terms. And being a father full time, being at home for everything, I didn't want to miss not 1 second. And then working with the foundation, I had work that was meaningful to me. And so it ended up being a no-brainer. It was a tough decision,
of course.
But it was one of those things where my gut was like, it's time.
It is time.
It's time.
Nice. Okay, so we're actually going to take a quick break, and we're going to quickly shout out to our sponsors. Special shout out to Round Ball Basketball, a twofold grassroots entity that not only provides the all-around basketball experience for all athletes of all skill sets, but also uses the game as a platform to impact its community. Contact them at roundball.bc on Instagram to get involved. The Washington Kids Foundation and Game Ready facility has provided a safe place for children and youth to develop and pursue their goals and dreams. The high-level coaches comprised of current and former pro, Olympic and university coaches, and athletes provide a supportive and competitive environment for each individual to be challenged in order to reach new personal bests. The Game Ready and Washington Kids Foundation journey of development ensures the path includes growth of character, leadership, and passion. All attributes that are valued through every stage of life. Okay, so you briefly mentioned the foundation, Washington Kids Foundation. Let's talk about your roles there a little bit. I'm gonna let you do it. You go ahead, talk about your roles.
Yes. So Washington Kids Foundation, we have 2 centers in BC. We have one out of Surrey, one out of North Van. I work out of the one out of Surrey. And we do physical literacy, but not just that. Like, we're mentors, we're trainers, we're coaches, we're youth leaders, kind of all wrapped in one. And so we partner with Surrey School District and Langley School District. We have our own buses. We pick kids up, we bring them to the center. Our elementary program, we have like a bus load of 15 to 20 kids, and at our facilities we got full weight room, turf area with basketball hoops and all the equipment that you can think of. We have a classroom, we have a barber shop. Every Wednesday our guy Azariah pulls up and gets everyone lined up looking good. IKEA donated a kitchen for us last year, so we have a full kitchen that's working. We got classrooms. We have a studio upstairs now, which has been huge. We've had youth come in and make albums and EPs and all that type of stuff. And then we have the full lounge as well. And so we get to use all of that to best support and help the youth that we serve. And so, the morning we have our elementary programs, and then in the evening we have high school programs and one-on-ones. Our coaches have one-on-ones with high school kids. And so youth comes in, and it's no pressure to work out. We do whatever they want. We meet them wherever they are at, and we use whatever they're comfortable with as a means to build a relationship, and then work on their self-development. And so whether that be shooting hoops, whether that be playing some pool, whether we go to the kitchen get a snack, or whether let's go upstairs and bust a couple freestyle and hear what we sound like on auto-tune, right? Or even the sun's out, let's go for a walk, right? And so I've been super grateful to be at the foundation, to be connected with the foundation since 2018 now. And so now my role, I manage the floor, and also have my one-on-ones and stuff like that. And super grateful for the foundation.
Man, that's actually such a cool opportunity for you to build into the community around you, right? Like you're able to be there for the young people that come in and build these relationships. I think every episode of this podcast has dialed in on something that makes leadership what it is, and that one thing has been relationships. In every single episode, everyone talks about is relationships. I think as a people we have especially through the pandemic. And I mean, it's a cause of it. It is what it is. But through the pandemic, we've gotten away from being with people.
Yes.
Everything's online, and I mean, fair enough. The world is evolving in that way. We are a global community. It is what it is. But the social interaction that we truly need from people is missing. We've lost the art of communication that goes from expressing how we feel, that goes to analyzing our emotions and expressing those. That even comes down to the form of not understanding how to argue. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like people just to that point, I feel like people want to avoid conflict at all costs because, like, I don't want to argue. It's like, there's nothing wrong with having different opinions. You can have different opinions and still be civil. You can still have different opinions, have a conversation about it
for each other afterwards.
It is what it is. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. But I feel because of whatever circumstance, we've lost that art. We've lost relationships, and I think being able to emphasize the importance of relationships again is super important, something that we need to do again. And so with you being at the foundation, you being able to talk to these kids and mentor them and grow with them and work out with them and hang out with them, you know what I'm saying? Like
sweat with them, all of it.
All of it. It creates a bond with someone that can't be replicated anywhere else. And so it's so cool for you to be in that position. And shout out to Washington Kids Foundation for supplying a space like that, right?
Yes.
Outside of Washington Kids Foundation, I'm sorry, you were gonna say something.
No, I was just gonna say, being at Washington Kids Foundation in the facility there, I mean, for me, it's like I'm in. This is like my playhouse, my jungle gym. This is like a big kids playground. We got the weight room, we got all the equipment, and so people be like, oh, how's work today? It doesn't feel like work to me, man. I love hanging out with these kids. I love pouring into these kids, and I get to do it in a space that promotes health and wellness, right? We move our bodies, and then we go down to the kitchen and we grab a snack. Huge blessing.
That's awesome, man. So outside of the foundation, you also work in the Surrey school system.
Yes.
Explain your role there, because I think that is in itself super cool.
Yeah. So through my work with the foundation, like I said, we partner with Surrey School District. So a lot of these programs and a lot of these youth come into our center. It has led and paved the way for an opportunity for me to work in the district. So I also work for Surrey School District. I work for Safe Schools and specifically the wraparound program. Okay. So the wraparound program is an anti-gang program. And so I work with youth who have been identified as a potential target for the gang life. And they get onto our caseload, and then we get resources from the district to help get these kids and youth back on a better path. And I've been really enjoying my time with the Surrey School District. When we get a kid on our caseload, we have them all the way through graduation. And so we really get time to build a relationship, build that trust, and really pour into these kids the way that they need to. And so that's been a huge blessing. It's challenging, but the best things in life come with a challenge, man.
Big facts. Absolutely, man. I think that's really cool. It's actually really cool to know that there are programs out there that the district and the government have funded to help mentor and guide young people, because I think it shows an investment in our future.
Oh yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's cool that these kids have people outside of their homes that they can look to, that they can call, like they say, hey, I need help, and you're able to go there, and you have the resources, you're backed up to go and help. That's super important, man.
And it's amazing, we get to build a relationship with the parents as well, right? And so we call it wrap around, because we fully get to wrap and support all the way around. And so whether that's families that are struggling, you know, with groceries or whatever it may be. You know, we get funding through the district, you know, whether that be gift cards or, you know, anything like that to help them. So, you know, we get to work with the parents, we get to work with the family, and then most importantly, the youth.
Man, that's so cool. That is so cool. I think, you know, it's one thing to speak and to kind of give life to these young people, but once they leave you, they're no longer in that bubble anymore. You know what I'm saying? Now they have to go back home to quote unquote real life. And if that space isn't conducive to them growing or isn't safe for them, then what's all that work for? Right. They're going to go right back to what they know, which isn't always the best thing. So being able to kind of work with not only the student, but the youth, but also with their families, I think that goes such a long way.
Oh, yeah.
Now, with that, how are you able to kind of implement or to teach kind of leadership skills to these young people?
Well, you know, like a big theme for me is leading by example. And so I have to walk the walk. And so, you know, I always preach, you know, the importance of exercise, you know, and moving your body. Well, best believe that, you know, I'd be getting up early and you know, still going to the gym, still training like really crazy. And so, you know, and then over the course of time, these kids get to see me progressing, you know, in my goals. And so, you know, really leading by example that way and letting, you know, the results kind of speak for themselves has been a big tool for me. And then also, you know, I always like to say that I'm coming from a foundation of love, right? Every decision, every word that comes out of my mouth is coming from that love foundation. And so, by living that every day, you know, I know that these kids can feel it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's no fakeness for me, right? You know, kids can see right through that. And so, you know, just really moving from that place, you know, willing to go out of my way for these youth, simply because I know it's the right thing to do. I know that they feel that, and it gets reciprocated, which is amazing. You know, I've had youth, you know, I have 2 young girls. I've had youth buy gifts from their minimum wage job that they only work once a week, and they're buying my children gifts, and I'm like, hey, you know, thank you so much. I know you guys need this. And so, you know, just like little things like that, just kind of let you know that, you know, you're in the right place, and, you know, you're doing good work. So yeah. I've had the pleasure of working with just some amazing youth who have every excuse not to be, right? But, you know, they still find it within their heart, you know, to show that love.
That's beautiful, man. That's so good. Okay. So now let's with you in your current state, with you having gone through all your experiences and have gained this level of wisdom, what would you tell yourself as a high school athlete and as a pro athlete, or a former pro athlete?
So what I would tell myself, 0.001%. That's all you have to get better at every single day, right? Like, one of my favorite quotes is "Baby step your way to greatness." And so, you know, as a young person growing up, you know, you think that you have to have everything figured out. You think that, okay, I gotta go here, I gotta do this, everything's gonna line up perfectly. That's not the case. Adversity's gonna hit. You have no idea when it's gonna come. But just know that with every bit of adversity, there's a seed of an equivalent advantage. Right? There's a seed of an equivalent advantage, but it's up to us as the gardener to water and nurture that seed. All right? But it's there. And so for me, you know, just baby step, one step at a time. Did you get little tiny bit better today. That's it, right? And then understanding that when adversity hits, that it's actually a blessing in disguise, because in adversity there's something for you to learn that you wouldn't have learned without that adversity.
Facts.
Right? So the universe is like, yo, take this adversity, let's shake you back on path, and let's go. And so yeah, if I could go back and tell me those two things: baby step your way to greatness, and there's a seed of an equivalent advantage with every adversity that hits in your life.
There's a seed of equivalent advantage.
Yes, sir.
Where's that from?
So where's that from? I read it in a book.
It sounded like a book quote, and I want it.
It's definitely a book quote. I wanna show love to the author who wrote it. I can't. It's not coming right now.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. We gonna find it. We gonna find it.
I read it. Okay. The seed of an equivalent advantage.
Seed of equivalent advantage. Oh, it's from the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Yeah,
that's the one. That's the one. That book has gems in it, bro.
So Napoleon's actually one of my favorite authors. So I got that from Outwitting the Devil.
Okay.
He did this book Outwitting the Devil, and that's where I got it from.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Yeah. You know, there's my favorite Bible verse is James 1 verse 2. It says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds."
Yes.
It's you're gonna go through adversity.
It's inevitable.
It's going to happen.
It's happening.
How are you going to face it?
Yes.
Are you going to let it break you?
Yes.
Or are you going to be like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm going to go through it because the next verse says, because the testing of your faith produces perseverance. So you going through this is going to test you. Are you going to break down, or are you going to look at it like, hey, I'm getting better because of this, and I'm going to push through it 100%. Because that's what I got to do.
100%.
Right? It's so important to have it tattooed on my chest, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's so important, man.
It's real. It's real, man.
And you don't have to be an athlete to hear that.
No.
You don't. Receive it wherever you are. Receive it. Hands up and receive that. That's beautiful.
And just like you say, you don't have to be an athlete to understand that, because even if you're not an athlete, it's gonna come in business. It's gonna come in your relationship. Yep. It's showing up in life.
Yes.
You just don't know when, but when it happens, all right, let's overcome this.
Exactly. Perspective is everything, man. Perspective is absolute everything, bro. Malcolm, thank you.
Yes, sir.
My guy. This was amazing.
I appreciate you,
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Now, before we head out, how can people follow you and Haeley with PVE?
Yes. We're on Instagram and we're on TikTok. PVE Fam. Please give us a follow.
Absolutely.
We love your support. But real quick, man, Shaka, I love what you're doing with Beyond the Game. You know, when I heard what you're doing and everything, I couldn't wait to help as fast as I could.
I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, man, I definitely look forward to, and stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
It's coming.
To that PVE meets Beyond the Game collaboration.
It's coming. I'm excited for it, man.
Yes, sir.
Bro, thank you so
All right,
much.
family. Much
Absolutely.
love, brother.
Always. All right. Love.
Different names for success, but we gon' taste. Keep it metal on 10, gon' be okay. Gold medals round neck, CFL rings, Bill Kings, Queens, BTG, repeat rotate.